Hello everybody, this is another Hot Wheels collector video. Today we are looking at the Hot Wheels 20 Jeep Gladiator from the 2022 mainline. This car was in the C and the D case, I believe, although I'm not 100% sure if it was in the C case, because this car may have been a carryover from the C case, or it may be new to the D case. I do, however, know that it was definitely in the D case of 2022, and this is a very nice addition to the 2022 mainline stuff, I think. So without further ado, let's get into some facts about this real life car before we get into the showcase. So this car in real life has two engine options that I could find: a 3.6 litre V6 or a 3 litre eco diesel V6 engine. I would assume the 3.6 litre engine is the best one and the more desirable engine choice, although the eco diesel seems to be having a better fuel economy. This car also produces 285 horsepower. I'm not sure which engine this is, but this is the fact that kept popping up, so I would imagine this is a 3.6 litre V6, and also produced 260 pound-feet of torque through a 6-speed manual transmission, or you could choose an 8-speed automatic, depending on which one you would prefer. Obviously, the manual is a bit more fun to drive, whilst the automatic is much easier to drive and is more of a comfort car rather than something fun to drive. I think the manual might have been the most popular, but this is America that we're talking about, so maybe it would have been the automatic. I know here in the UK it would probably be the manual, because Europe love manual cars. That's more popular than automatic, although automatics nowadays are creeping up and there's more and more of them on the roads. This car also has a 0 to 60 in 8.1 seconds, pretty impressive, and also has a top speed of 136 miles per hour. Again, pretty impressive, especially for a pickup truck of this size and weight. This car in real life has a starting price of $41,000, and if I was to give a little guess, this would probably translate to about £35,000 or there or thereabouts. So that's this car's facts. Now let's get into the actual showcase of the Hot Wheels model of this car. Alright, so starting off with the side profile of this car, first of all we'll talk about the wheel choice. So this car is on 6-slot steely wheels, and these are done in black, very nice there, and these suit this car amazingly, obviously this being an off-road type car, and they are an off-road type wheel, giving this a real off-roady type profile. You can also see this car is actually fully painted in glossy black. It does suit this car very well. You can also see the livery on this car is the Borgia livery, very similar to the Silverado Trail Boss, which I have reviewed recently as well. We also have the Hot Wheels logo on the back, which is done in white as well. And we also have the ATAK, I'm guessing that means attack. It must be some kind of sponsor, I would imagine, done on the front fender. And obviously, I've already mentioned there's a massive Borgia white writing, and also this red blood stain almost. That's what it reminds me of. I will also note that all the windows on this car are rolled down, including the rear windows, which is very nice. There is a tiny bit of the front window which is wound up, representing that smaller front window which most cars do have. That's really it for the details on the side. I will mention this car does have wing mirrors as well. You'll be able to see them a little bit better as I turn the car a little bit. There you go. Now, onto the front of this car. I will first mention this car does have windshield wipers, however they are not in the plastic this time. They're done in the metal casting, but I don't think you'll be able to see it because this is super glossy black. Hopefully you can. You can also see this front bumper is created using the grey interior plastic, so there you go. The interior is done in grey plastic, and the base is done in black plastic. You can also see the grille section is not actually part of the metal casting. Instead, it's actually created using the window plastic, which is see-through. It is slightly tinted on this model just so that the grille would work better. If it was completely see-through, it wouldn't look as good, the grille. So that's an interesting design thing from Hot Wheels, utilising the different plastics and layers that they use when creating the car. You can also see that continuation of the Borgia livery on the hood of this car as well. And you can see the fenders, which are very wide and done nicely into the casting of this car. That's really it for the front of this car. Now let's move on to the other side. This side is the same as the previous, so I will not bore you on this one, but you can obviously pause the video and have a look for yourself. I will mention that the side skirt is created using the grey interior plastic again. Very nice use of that. Now moving on to the rear of the car, there is no tamper work unfortunately, but the rear lights have been carved out so you could add your own detail using acrylic paint or even a Sharpie. Interestingly, in the bed of this truck we have two motorbikes which are done in the grey interior plastic. They are actually quite nicely moulded. I will tilt the car slightly so you can get a better look at those. Very nice to see that, and that's quite an interesting quirk. I'm not a big motorcycle guy, but I actually do like these in this car. I think it adds to that real heavy-duty hauler look to this car. It just suits it amazingly, and they actually do stick out of the bed of this truck quite a lot. Obviously the tailgate is actually removed on this model. You can also see in the actual casting itself, the rear window has been put in, so that's very nice. And they obviously did not forget about that, which is surprising to be honest, since they did the motorbikes, but pretty accurate this casting to be entirely honest. They have obviously already retooled it for the Fast and Furious Hot Wheels Premium mainline set, so they don't have the motorbikes in the back, so there's two kind of castings floating around of this, but I think I do prefer this one to be honest. You can also see on the actual roof of this car we do have some ribs which have been cast into the metal. In real life those add extra structure to the roof of the car, and you expect to see these on most off-road vehicles to add extra structural integrity to the car. Anyways, that's really it for this casting. I don't think I've missed anything. Now let's go on to my actual final thoughts and review of this car. Alright, so now it's time for my final review and thoughts on this car. I think this is an absolutely amazingly well executed casting, as with most Hot Wheels castings nowadays. Most of the bad castings were done, you know, pre-2005 really, and even then some of the models were actually pretty accurate and realistic looking. This one is another great addition to your collection, and I highly recommend you get this if you ever see it in stores, although I do think this will be much harder to find now, with this being quite an old car. I just hit lucky with this one and found it in a Smith's store, and I was over the moon when I found this, alongside many other 2022 cars that I was missing. If you don't already know, I started collecting last July, so 2022 July, and so this was way before July of last year. So I actually missed out on this car as well as many others. There are still a few that I'm missing, including that blue Mercedes A-Class, which I'm absolutely desperately hunting for still, but hopefully it might just pop up in the future, but if not, it's just the unfortunate part of being late to the game, I suppose. But there you go, I absolutely love this car, so that leads me on to my score out of 10. What I'm going to give this car out of 10, it's going to be getting a solid 8 out of 10 from me. I was going to say 9 out of 10, but I'm going to be harsh today because I don't want to give out too many 9s and too many 10s. It's going to get an 8, but it's an absolutely amazing one. Remember, anything over 7 is an absolute must get if you see it in stores. And definitely don't pass this one up. You will love it, especially if you're planning to open it. I think it looks way better out of the package. With most Hot Wheels mainlines, that's the case as well. So yep, an absolutely amazing addition to my collection. I'm happy to have this one, and I do recommend that you grab it. I think I've already said that, but I really do. And I like this car more than I actually expected. But anyways, that's it for this video. So if you enjoyed, make sure to like. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Remember, you can also press that notification bell so you do not miss any new uploads. Remember, you can also share this video with any friends, family, or in any groups who may be interested. But remember, don't feel pressure to if you don't feel like you have anybody who may be interested in this video. You watching this video all the way to the end means so much to me, and I really do thank you for making it all the way up until this point. But anyways, that's it for this video, so I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye bye everyone.